Hey everybody, my name's Chris Warren.
My name is Matthew Lopes.
Welcome to the You Should Be Worried podcast.
Ben, I think I'd like to put in a deposit for these glasses. I think I'm finally ready to settle, and I'd like to purchase them from you. I'm sorry.
Or you just keep them.
Wow, what a guy Ben
And
is.
honestly,
you're
just
honestly
keep
the-
them here because what's going to happen is they'll just get lost in the depths of your car. And
Correct.
We'll never see them.
You're all right.
So
Thank
just
you.
keep them here where they consistently.
Thank you, and I appreciate it. And
What I love about the
All right.
glasses is the whole audience, like that's their view of you at this point. That like, oh, Matt has those glasses.
Yeah.
Outside of
I'll
the
never
2
wear
hours
this.
we shoot this podcast,
Yeah.
I've never seen Matt in
I
sunglasses.
got my regular prescriptions on. It's a fucking good time. But I don't know. I don't even like wear them fully. Like during the episode, they always go up and they just rest on my little forehead, little big ass
Well,
forehead.
no, it hides the forehead. It's
yeah,
nice. It's a good
very,
move.
it's a very good move.
Those were originally purchased by my ex-girlfriend, and she didn't like the way she looked in them, and I liked the way I looked in them,
Another man's trash,
so I kept them.
another man's treasure. Yeah,
They look better on a guy, anyways.
It's
It's like a weird, like rose gold, like I'm a Renaissance man.
Yeah. I really like them, and so I appreciate the gift. If in the future you suddenly realize it's their potential and you want to charge me for it, I would be okay with discussing prices.
$5,000.
Can I do a payment plan?
I'm gonna Zelle you $20 a month to rent these sunglasses.
It's a good fucking.
Yeah, what
really
is
good
even
glasses.
is Zelle?
Cash
I
App.
It's just Cash
it's
App.
Cash App for Bank of America specifically.
Is that what it is?
I think so.
Yeah, there's also something else with it that it like someone told me something about Zelle where I was like, oh, that's why all the scammers and drug dealers use Zelle.
Really?
Oh, really?
There's something
So it's,
about
like, more
the way
sketchy?
yeah, there's something about they don't track some sort of statement or
I
like
thought it
there's
was like advanced
purchases-
PayPal.
Yeah, there's like some sort of there's a certain amount of money you can set. I don't know. There was some rule that someone had explained to me as to what made Zelle different from Cash App and Venmo, and I was like, oh, that's why I see people's stories where they're like, yo, if you could find a different number in this pile, I'll Zelle you $50.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this?
Zelle. Like that's
But you
gonna be the new Venmo.
Among all the different methods to transfer money we have,
Yeah.
I've noticed a divide. That
What do you mean?
I'm just gonna throw this out there, and people might misinterpret it, but I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
I've noticed that all of my Caucasian friends use Venmo,
Yeah.
and all of my African American friends use Cash App, and I'm just curious, like, what caused? Like, I'm being serious. Like,
Is that real?
1,000%. This is all anecdotal.
Very anecdotal.
But in my
yeah.
personal experience, I've asked other people, they've had similar experiences.
Yeah.
That for some, I don't know where this happened, that there was like a cultural racial divide that like white people use Venmo and black people use Cash App. Now, a lot of people use both, but if you only have one, it tends to be that's how
Do
it
you
breaks
think
down.
that if a white person uses just Cash App, they should be able to say the N-word?
I think there's an argument. There's an argument to be made. Listen, I'm not the person that can make that call.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, look into it.
Right.
Look into it. If you're a white dude that only uses Cash App,
God damn.
write Reverend Jesse Jackson. See what he says.
I think what people love about Zelle is that it's like there's no fees. There's no transaction fees. Like it goes right into your bank account.
That freaks me out. Why is that?
I don't know
How are they making
why.
their money? Because with Venmo, at least, I know it's like they take out the percent if you want it early.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So it's like, okay, they're making their money. That makes me feel whatever. That it's like, okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But if because I've always heard that like if you're not being charged for a product, like
How else are they making their
you
money?
are the product, like they're selling your information,
Ooh.
or they're
I hate that.
somehow like making money off you.
Uh-huh.
And the thing is, like with Cash App and Venmo, I know they like charge you, so those make sense to me. But like, what's Zelle doing?
See, my aunt for Christmas, she Venmoed me like my money. She's also my godmother, so she gives me more money than all the other aunts and uncles, which is
Best
fun.
aunt.
Yeah, best aunt. And she's like, "Do you want a Venmo or Zelle?" And I was like, "Why would I want Zelle?" And then her daughter was like, "No, Zelle's good. They don't do transaction fees." I was like, "Oh fuck."
Well, maybe if
Yeah,
it's,
Zelle me, and it worked really well.
we were saying that Zelle is owned by Bank of America or something, so maybe you have to have like a Bank of America account to use it. So it's like encouraging people to like come to their bank. Is that maybe what it is?
I think so. Maybe
Because
it
that
could
would make
be.
sense if it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you got Wells Fargo, you can't use Zelle, and if it gets popular enough, maybe they can get everyone over to Bank of
I
America.
never understood people who used PayPal. Is PayPal a fucking like? Why is it so well known? I don't know anybody that uses it.
I think PayPal was earlier on before all these things. It was like the OG way on the internet. If you didn't have your own like payment system on a website, like Etsy and earlier versions of like websites like that, I think you had to go through PayPal because it was like a secure third party you could transfer money.
Right.
But now we're living in the future, so you don't really need that. So I think it's like a holdover of a forgotten era. I'm
mad that they haven't.
PayPal's been around since I was making money playing Call of Duty at 13 years old.
Yeah. I'm mad that they haven't
love the low-key
found a way
flex.
to.
just you're making money on Call of Duty, not a big deal. 13, whatever.
Dude, tell any women that they don't find it to be a flex.
No, they don't.
They're
They're like, you
play that game
were
a
13
lot.
and you didn't have a job.
Yeah. Women have horrible takes. That's what I'm gonna throw out. Because I'm a little wet right now.
Ask any man if how they would react to Ben.
They'd be like, bro, you were
at 13 off COD.
What prestige were you, bro?
You're the coolest guy. You're literally the coolest guy.
The max prestige.
You were the kid that the high schoolers liked hanging out with. That was like fucking 5 grades below him, and like they'd be like, "Oh no, dude, it's this little Benny boy."
Dude, that was me because my brothers were always older than me.
Yeah,
We'll put it all together.
And they would give you weed and shit, and you're like a little kid, and you're like,
I was the rat experiment, dude. They were like, "Yo, what happens if we get a fucking 14-year-old stoned?"
Dude, I hated kids like you growing up. I
just
fucking
be like,
hated it.
Let's run it.
I had one of those in my early 20s. So it's actually realizing how dark this story is when I start saying, I don't know, we might edit it out later.
Oh no!
But so like in my early 20s,
yeah,
I had a year where I dropped out of school.
Yeah.
I dropped out of college, and so I was like 20. I hung out with a bunch of other like 19, 20, 21-year-olds, and we were all drug addicts. Like we didn't address it at the time, like we didn't think we were, but we totally had a problem.
Yeah.
And so we'd hang out at my one friend's house, and he had a younger brother, and his younger brother's friends were all stoners, so they'd like come hang out with us.
Right.
And they were good kids, but there was this one kid, Trevor,
who
was, I don't know if I've talked about Trevor on the podcast before.
How old is Trevor?
Trevor's got to be like 17 at this point. So like,
wait, at this, like now?
We're hanging out with a 4-year-old.
Jesus Christ.
No. So I was like 20. Trevor was probably like 17.
No, that's not that big of a gap.
Yeah, no,
I'm 20. Trevor's 3.
Yeah, so no, they were like, I think they were
That'd be fun.
they were like juniors or seniors in high school. So it wasn't like that weird, but it was still like this is weird. So Trevor was a little guy, and he was Vietnamese, and he had a lisp and diabetes.
Oh, hell
Trevor ruled.
I've never heard about Trevor.
Trevor would show up and be like, "You guys ready to party?" And he'd just pull out like a bag, an industrial sized bag of ketamine, and like, "How'd you get this, Trevor?" And
I have my wage.
And he would just be like, I was, and this is exactly how he sounded. I got really good at my impression of him over time. He'd be like, I did, guys, because he worked at this, I won't say the name of the restaurant. He worked at this restaurant in town.
That sold ketamine.
So he was like this like 16, 17-year-old in this kitchen being a busboy, but all these grown men that were convicts that would just like give him drugs.
Jesus
He'd
Christ.
be like, I got you from Terry at work. and so we'd party with Trevor ruled. But Trevor always, because he's like a high schooler, he'd never had money for drugs or anything.
Right.
So he'd always like pester us for drugs. So we'd always make him like do shit for it. Just nothing crazy, but one time we went a little too far. So this is the time I went too far.
One time we kicked Trevor down a fucking flight of stairs.
Funny story about that.
No.
One time Trevor did too much ketamine, and we were hanging out at the house, and there's this stairwell, and we're all at the bottom of the stairs. It's pretty steep.
Yeah.
It's like a full flight of stairs, like a story or whatever.
Yeah.
And we're just like, "Hey, Trevor, you good?" And he's like, "I used to get a bunch of ketamine." And we're like, "Buddy, we're trying to go to Taco Bell. You want to come? Come down." And he's like,
he sprints.
And he's just standing at the top of the stairs like this. And we're like, "Bud, you good? You want us to come?" Because we all love Trevor. He's like our mascot. And he's like,
he's our mascot.
He was our mascot. And so Trevor
we
just
love Gritty, our little Gritty.
He was. And so he's just like, I don't feel so good. And it was like, "What's going on, bud? Talk to me through it." And he's just like, 1 second, silent for a full minute, just standing on the stairs, like this pose, like the pose you do, Matt. He was doing this, and you guys said, "Hold on," and then he just fucking threw himself down the stairs.
Jesus fuck.
Like the Family Guy meme where Lois has her arms and legs behind her as she's going down the stairs. He literally did that, and he just flies down the stairs, hits the wall, super hard, crumples over like Trevor's dad. We're going to have to explain this to his Oma, dude. Like, what do we do? Because we lived with his German grandmother. And that was never explained
And
to
you
me.
knew her, and he used to talk about her, and he used to call her Omad around you.
Her name? No, that's what you, in German, you call your grandma. That's like Oma is what you call grandmas, I guess. Or at least that's what they told us. A German listener, tell me if that was wrong. And it was never really, we never understood like Trevor's family situations. We don't really know why he lived with his Oma, but it was just, they did. And so his little, so he flies out here, hits the wall, gets up, and he just starts quoting the Hunter S. Thompson quote of, I was at the top of the stairs and the bottom of the stairs at the same time. And we're like, are you good, dude? You have like a concussion? Because like everyone's sobered up immediately. He's like, yo, whoa, what the fuck? And he's like, I was at the top of the stairs and the bottom of the stairs at the same time. Just kept repeating it. So that was one. But the story I want to talk about with Trevor, first of all, his name was Trevor. And like I said, he had lissom diabetes, so endless ridicule. We had to bully this kid.
Did he say his own name wrong, or did he say it right?
My name's, I won't say his last name, but my name is Trevor. He had a really funny last name.
You say Trevor right if you have a list. We can still say it
so,
right. Okay.
The thing about Trevor, though, was so we love Trevor, but we bully him relentlessly.
Yeah.
And so we thought Trevor's a horrible name. Like we literally had this conversation with him. Trevor's the worst name on earth. Like, what's a worse name than Trevor? And we're like, Craig.
He's like, I agree.
Yeah. We're just like,
fuck my name.
We're like, Craig. Okay, your new name is Craig. And then it went to Craiglin Dale. And so for like the next 6 years, his name to everyone in that friend group of like 20 people was Craiglin Dale.
Craiglin Dale.
Like to this day, he's in my phone as Craiglin Dale.
That's funny as fuck.
And so I'd be like, so one day he was like, guys, just give me some Xanax. I want some Xanax, please. And we're like, no, Craiglin Dale. No, Craiglin Dale. I had to buy this Xanax from a 14-year-old. You have no idea what I had to do to get this Xanax. Because I think I mentioned him on the podcast. My Xanax dealer at the time
was 14.
He went on 4. That was exaggeration. He was
he was 15 and a half.
He was 16. And he was a rich kid that would just, his mom and his dad and him all had Xanax prescriptions, and none of them, he took them all, but he would just steal all of them because they had like 8 prescriptions each. So it was just like they had thousands of Xanax at any given time. Because they were super rich. So like just the doctor would just write them scripts. So he would, one time, I think I mentioned this story before, his name was Harry. I won't say his last name, but he rolled up, and this is me as like a 20-year-old meeting this kid in a fucking park and ride off the Merritt.
Yeah.
And he rolls up in a convertible.
Okay.
With like 3 chicks in the convertible that are clearly like about to die from Xanax, like just slumped. And he's like, hey man, throws me. I was buying $50 of Xanax. I think he probably threw me $800 bag of Xanax. Like I think he messed up the bag. He was like, thanks, man. And he's got a tall boy in the fucking like a beer. And he's just drinking it.
Yeah.
There's a 30 rack, and he just grabs a beer and throws it to me. He's like, that's a little extra on me. And I was like, thanks, man. And then just does a donut and peels out. And I'm like, that's the coolest high schooler I've ever seen, dude.
Well, does he think he obviously thought you were cool enough to give extra drugs to, right?
No, it was a mistake because he was so fucked up. I think he probably woke up the next morning and was like, did I do more Xanax than I thought? And no, little did he know, he just gave Chris Warren the wrong bag.
God damn.
But so that was after that, so we had all this Xanax. And Craig's like, please give me Xanax. Please, I'd love you to give me the Xanax. And so we're like, you gotta do something for it, Craig. There's no free rides. This is a Republican drug house. And so he's just like, I'm ready to pull myself up by the bootstraps. What do I need to do? and so we were like, me and my friends, I thought about like, Craig's done a bunch of fucked up stuff. Like, how could we top this? We're like, all right, Craig, if you take this dab rig, the thing you do dabs on with the nail?
Yeah.
If you take this dab rig and you dab a jewel pod out of it, we'll give you 2 Xanax. And you go, deal, done. Like, no hesitation. So we heat up the nail, red hot, and we break open a jewel pod and pour it in there, and he smokes the whole thing in one go. And immediately goes into shock because we didn't know because we're shitheads. We looked it up immediately after because Craig looks like more sick than usual. Like, this might be bad. And we looked it up like, you can die from that?
What shock? Like, he's just like...
He just like, he like... he
glitching out.
He exhales and he full glitches out. He's like, oh my God, and goes fully pale.
Starts getting aneurysms and shit.
Yeah, and we're like, he's probably just in diabetic shock. Because that would happen like
Someone get him his insulin.
Yeah, it's like that would happen once a week. He would get too fucked up and forget to take his insulin, and someone would have to needle him. But
Jesus Christ.
so he's over the toilet for like 3 hours, just throwing up, and we're like, "What's wrong, Craig?" He's like, just goes full nonverbal. And we looked it up, and apparently you can die of nicotine overdose.
Yeah.
And apparently a really good way to do that is what we just did to Craig. So we're like, oh, I think we just killed a high schooler. Like, I don't know what we're going to do about this. But he recovered. He was fine, and he had his Xanax. Another fun thing about Craig, I've not thought about Craig in years. Another fun thing about Craig Lindale is he was the biggest garbage head I've ever met.
What does that mean?
A garbage head's like an old term for just someone that'll do any drug you put in front of them. Like the kind of people that hear.
Was he trying? Is this like this is like one of those things like where a kid is really just trying to like be accepted by the people that he's around, especially if these are older kids, and so he feels the way to do that is to do whatever they say?
No, Craig, as was actually this whole group because he kind of found us naturally. Like it made sense he hung out with us.
Okay.
It's one of those things where like we all just like were very unhappy people.
Yeah.
We all had like fucked home situations that we never talked about, but everyone kind of knew everyone else's household was fucked up.
Which is why you guys were together.
Which is why we were together.
That's
and so
cool.
like we just wanted to escape, so we were always trying to constantly get fucked up.
It's kind of like The Outsiders.
I never saw that, so but probably sure. And
Me neither. I've never seen it.
he just read. but so what Craig would do, because he was always poor, and so he never had like money for drugs, is when he would like run out of drugs, he would just start ordering shit off the dark web.
Okay.
And so there was a time, I don't know if they're as popular now because I'm not in the drug scene, but it was really popular. This was back in like 2014, 15, I think was this window of time, where the dark web had just kind of become popular, but it hadn't been cracked down on, so you get whatever you want, and there was no regulation. It was great.
Okay.
The Silk Road, you'd use a Tor browser, go buy drugs off the Silk Road.
Holy fuck.
And that's what Bitcoin was originally for. We all had Bitcoin to buy drugs with that now would be worth millions of dollars, but we spent it on like a pound of weed, which horrible mistake. But
oh, wait, you used to own Bitcoin?
yeah.
What the fuck, dude?
Yeah, because certain drugs.
Chris!
There was a time where Bitcoin wasn't like what it is now.
No, that was the point
like
of Bitcoin.
Nobody understood that, like, oh, these are things that, you know what I mean? Like, you can't, we gave it value.
Yeah,
So now it has the value.
The only
you
reason
knew what the value of Bitcoin was.
it was nothing back then. It was like $2 a Bitcoin.
But you had to go through all of all the process of like making a crypto wallet and shit like that just to buy shit off the dark web.
That was, Matt, back then, that's why Bitcoin was invented. That's why it existed.
Really?
The only reason, the fact that it went mainstream was so weird to all of us when it happened that we're like, this is like a fluke. It's not going to go long. Like the fact that it's popular now is crazy to me because back then, the only people that knew what Bitcoin was other junkies like myself, and you'd use it specifically the reason it was invented to buy illegal shit online.
Chris, how much Bitcoin do you think if you never spent it on drugs but you had it in your wallet? How much money do you think you'd have?
I don't know because I never had I didn't buy one lump sum and then spend it over time. Like I would
You were
buy
always
like
just putting a
I buy
little
like
bit
$20 here, $100 there whenever I needed to buy
and
something.
what year was this?
This is 2014, 2015.
Back when it was
Nothing. It was like I think tops at the height of.
It's funny too how like all the kids who like aren't good at like they were like peaked in high school sports are like, yo, NFTs, dog. And they were the kids making fun of the kids who originally had Bitcoin.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah.
But they're like, no, but this monkey is wearing a Supreme shirt.
Chris, if you just had like left $20 or $40 in
I
that,
would probably
like by accident.
I could have had like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Anyway.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
Why are you not more sad about this?
It is what it is. So if I think about too much, I'll put a gun in my mouth.
All right, okay. I'm glad that you're saying that.
Yeah,
at least.
yeah. So
you know that you fucked up.
But so all of us would buy normal shit, like
Okay.
because we lived in a backwoods town, so you couldn't necessarily always find the drugs you wanted because it just depended like who you could get them from.
Right, so you'd buy like a couch instead.
So
I'm kidding.
So you'd buy like, you could find like weed in town. If you want to get like coke or something, it might be hard to find. So we'd go to like, we found it at the dark web, and that was much easier to get like the crazier stuff, like acid, especially shrooms and stuff like that wasn't as around. It was around, but it was like you had to like really hound a guy for like a week to get it. So this was much easier.
Who the fuck am I talking to now?
But Craig Lindale discovered that there was a whole new class of drugs on there called research chemicals. And research chemicals are just made in China in like someone's basement, just putting chemicals together to figure out what'll kind of get you fucked up.
Right.
So it was basically like all the fake acid that was out there for a while. That's all research chemicals. So Craig would order research chemicals. We're like, Craig, you could have gotten real acid. And he's like, yeah, but I've done acid a bunch of times. I want to do something different. And I was like, all right, man. So
do something different, like
like,
it's a different restaurant.
Yeah.
Like he's just trying a new experience.
it was
I
crazy.
like how we're referring to him as Craig now as the story progressed. As well.
Because that's how I know.
That's how it went.
So Craig would order all these research chemicals. Like he would order 2CB was a big one that was supposed to be acid. It was like fake acid.
Okay.
So it was like one molecule off acid or whatever it was. I don't know how chemistry works. Then he'd order this other one that was a big deal that would fuck people up. That like anyone, if you ever hear about this, don't do it. It was called N-bomb.
Okay.
Was the name of the drug.
Yeah.
Which already, like, I probably don't want to take that. I saw so many people lose their minds, never fully come back. Do not take N-bomb.
Jesus.
You would take like a bromo fly, which I don't even think you can get anymore.
Bromo fly.
Bromo fly was you'd take it and you would literally trip for like 40 hours. It was like too much.
I don't get why anyone wants to do these drugs, dude. It's like you might as well just
There's crazy ass
into your cabinet and get whatever cleaning supplies you have and just throw them in a bong
Essentially.
and smoke weed through it. It's like,
But it has such a fucking fucked up name. It should be like the key to stop doing those drugs.
Well, so Craig, I would just like randomly,
this is Queen Chan Dink Bomb.
because we would all be,
Yeah, I want that on my stream.
we'd all be working, we'd all be working different jobs, like just different bullshit jobs to like feed our drug habits at the time, and like none of us were in school or had like real careers. So like there was this house we'd all hang out with, which was a garage. It was a garage, a separate, a standalone garage separate from my friend's house that like his mom just kind of like let us do whatever we want in there.
Yeah.
So different points in the day, you just show up to the garage and there'd be a different, out of like the 20 people we regularly hang out with, there'd be a different assortment of like 3 or 4 of them. And as the night went on, more and more people would show up to like at 1 a.m, everyone's there.
Yeah.
So like I would show up early usually because I would get off work at like 2. And I would, because I would work like the morning, and then I would go there, and Craig would always be there. And I was like, Craig, don't you have like school today? And he's like, no, I don't want to go to high school. It's gay. And I'm like, respect.
Respect, Craig.
So me,
Craig, we understand and we support this.
so as me as a 20-year-old would sit down with this 16-year-old child.
I thought he was 17, dude.
His age changed over time. So for some of these stories, he's 16. For some of the, I knew,
meet him as a 17-year-old. 2 years later, he tells you that he's actually 15, which means he was 13 when you met him.
Yeah, so I think he was like 16 at the youngest.
that'd be so funny.
And so like I would just show up and he would be on this moldy couch and he would just be sitting there and I'm like, hey bud, what's up? And he'd just take out like a handful of paper and just fucking like pick one out and eat it. And I'd be like, Craig, bud, what'd you just do? And he'd be like, I don't know. I just took like 6 hits of N-bomb. I'd never done it before. We're gonna see what happens.
No!
And even then, when I was like,
is he alive today?
well, we're gonna get to that. So, even then, as like at the time, I was full.
It's fucking crazy.
Full.
I need a breather, dude. This is the most I've laughed on this podcast.
No, dude, this is 23
So
minutes
far.
of pure fucking chaos
This
right
is
now.
nuts.
I just want to let you know
We're doing an hour today.
This
know
is
that.
this is just one of like the 20 people involved in the garage, and they're all equally crazy in different directions. And then we can talk about myself in that era, which was embarrassing but interesting. So Craig would just like, and he's like, I've never taken it before. And I'm like, then why'd you take 6 hits? Because even as like a full junkie, I was like, that's kind of wild. Like even then, even to me, I was like, that's kind of crazy, dude. I don't know if you want to
Hey, Craig, why'd you do that?
Yeah.
The guy on the street who gave you heroin asks how much you took and goes, whoa.
Dude, and then he was just like, I'm gonna be sick. And then I watched Craig. He was like, I'm gonna be sick.
No shit.
And
You're eating paper, dog.
and so then for like the next 3 hours before everyone showed up, because it was just me and Craig. Also, by the way, this wasn't our house. This was our friend's garage.
Yeah.
So like the owner of the house's kid wasn't even there. It was just me and Craig chilling there. Right. And he just like, I'm gonna be sick. And I'm like, it's okay, bud. What's up? And so he threw up, and then he proceeded to sit there like this. Just like, because that was a lot. Craig would go nonverbal a lot.
That was his thing.
Yo,
that was his thing.
The like just nonchalantness of things that like happened to you back then. Yeah, because you know Craig, he would go nonverbal a lot.
No, it's crazy because that was all normal to me, and I haven't thought about
like,
it.
Oh, Craig.
No, literally, that was it. So later, so I'm just sitting there smoking like a 2-gram blunt I rolled for myself. Because I'm like, I kind of got to get on somewhat of Craig's level, but I don't want to take his weird research yet. So I'm just smoking a blunt. I'm like, that's crazy, man. Like, can I help? Like, what's up? Just smoking a blunt.
Fuck.
And he's just like, can you please put Peggle on the TV? And I was so Peggle is this game. I don't know if you've ever played it. It's basically like a weird app game it would be now, but it was on the Xbox Live because we had all we had in there was an old school projection TV in the garage. It was like those big flat screens that would be in people's basements. You remember those? Like the first flat screens that like were this deep.
Yeah.
So we had one of those in the garage and like 2 moldy couches and that was it. And then just a bunch of garbage, and a little table. And so he's like, so we all we had to hook up to the TV was an Xbox 360 with no internet, and we had like 2 games for it. We had Peggle and we had Just Cause 2. And that's all we would do. Put on Peggle or play Just. He's like, please put on Peggle. And so he's just sitting there and he's like, I can't play the game. Can you please play the game for me? And so then Craig would
He just wants the stimulus of looking at the screen.
So Craig would tell me what move to do in Peggle for him. He's like, please hit the red cube. Because it's like Brick Breaker, if you ever played that. It was essentially Brick Breaker, but like...
So you're trying to hit the red cube.
So I'm trying to hit the red cube for Craig. And so we just did that for 3 hours. And then later that night, everyone else shows up. There's about like 8 of us, which is pretty normal amount. Usually anywhere from like 4 to 10 people out of the 20 there. So we're hanging out later that night. And another friend of mine, who I won't mention the name of, comes over. And he brings like a girl, which bad idea to bring a girl to our drug den to like impress her.
Craig. Craig.
So he brings a girl he met on Tinder, and he was like of my age range. He was like 20, 21.
Yeah.
He's like, guys, I'm bringing this girl over. I want to be really cool. And we're like, all right, man, yeah, well, whatever. You know, so he brings this girl over, and we're all hanging out, like smoking weed or whatever. It was pretty normal, getting drunk. Craig's still just like locked in. We're all taking turns playing Peggle for Craig because we love him. We bully him, but we love him. Yeah. And then it's like, because I just explained the situation, like, guys, you just gotta play Peggle. Craig took like a shitload of N-bomb. You just gotta like look out for him.
I love how you're playing Peggle so that Craig can watch so that he doesn't kill himself.
Yeah,
like that's the best.
And so
it's
then,
like an iPad kid.
Yeah.
Can you put on the gift opening?
So the friend who had brought the girl,
unboxing videos.
the friend who had brought the girl was clearly horrified at what she saw because it's like a first date off Tinder, and he brings her to dinner and then brings her to this drug den.
Yeah.
Also, it's the winter, by the way, so we just have a space heater in this fucking garage, and that's where we're hanging out. And so, at one point, the guy who brought the girl is like, "We should do whippets," like thinking it's gonna impress the girl, and she looks horrified. Like even then, I was like, "I don't know if that's the move, man." And he's like, "No, dude, it'd be sick." So he's like. He's like, I'm gonna go first, and does.
She's down there on the Ninja Turtles casting couch.
Yeah. So he cracks a whippet and like does the whip. And first of all, no one in that group really even likes whippets.
Yeah.
Because we didn't like. So that was the thing. We thought we were proper drug addicts, so we didn't like what we called wooks. Which you might call festy kids, like kids that go to festivals and do Molly and stuff. Mm-hmm. And we always viewed like fish heads, things like that, people that go to the fish. We viewed like whippets as like a wook drug. So we're better than them. We're not wooks. Yeah. So we're just like, no one wants
to. We do N-bomb in this
we do N-bomb in this garage. So he cracks the whippet.
16-year-olds named Trevor.
Yeah, and
named Trevor Craigdale.
he does the whippet, and he's like, bro, that didn't even hit. Like trying to be cool in front of the girl. Yeah. So he does another whippet, and he holds it in because you breathe it out, breathe in. Holds in the last breath for like way too long. We're like, yo, dude, that's like, breathes out. He's like, I'm good. And then it starts going like that. And we're like, bro, you good? And then he goes, and just throws up projectile vomits on the ground. And he literally, because there's garbage everywhere. It's a drug den. So he just picks up like a pizza box and puts it over the vomit and then puts his arm around the girl like she didn't just see that. Like that'll hide.
What the fuck?
And he's like, yeah. And then
she's disgusted.
And then
bro's like a GTA character. Jesus Christ.
Then Craig Liddell, like that snapped him out of his like hole he was in, and he was just like, "Yo, what the fuck? What the fuck was that?" And the guy's like, I don't know what you're talking about, because he's so fucked up. He thinks no one noticed the vomit. He hit it with the pizza box.
Yeah.
And then he's like, dude, you just threw up and put a pizza box over it. That's like fucked up, man. You got to clean that. And the guy's like, no, I didn't. no, I didn't just throw up in front of everyone seeing me throw up. And the girl's just like, yeah, I think I got to go, and just leaves. The guy's like, great going, Craig. You fucked up my day.
Is this Craig's house? Whose house is this?
So this is I won't say their name, but
are they even here at that time?
by this point they were there. But no, because that was the thing is they had their house, right? And then like maybe 30 feet from the house was a standalone garage, like a separate garage, like a 2-bay garage. And so they basically got tired of us being, after like a month of us hanging out inside.
Yeah.
Because like me and all my friends dropped out of college roughly at the same time.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a perfect storm. So it was like, all right, just fucking if you clean the garage, because it was like filled with stuff. It's like, if you clean out the garage, you can just have that just go out there. Like, we don't want to, understandably, they're like, we don't want to deal with this anymore.
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right, we cleaned it out and we hung out in there all the time.
Dope.
But
that's dope as fuck.
It was dope as fuck. I have so many stories from that like 3-year period where I just hung out with those guys and got fucked up beyond recognition every day.
This is when you were doing like sales and stuff?
No, this is, so I had done.
What was your job at this point?
So what had happened, I'll explain, is I had done a year and a half at Syracuse. Mm-hmm. Then I transferred to Fairfield University to go there because I had a lot of friends from high school that went there.
Yeah.
And then I ran out of money because that school is very expensive. Dropped and had to drop out.
Okay.
Because I didn't really find out from my parents that like I wasn't going back until like a week before classes. So I was like, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. And so then I had this other group of friends that I had known from middle school at my old town that I'd stayed in touch with this whole time. And so they were like, oh, perfect, dude. Like, none of us are in school either. School's gay. Let's hang out. Mm-hmm. And we were all, at that point, like, fucked.
Yo, that must have been, I'm sorry, that must have been wild the whole summer. You thought you were going back to school, and then you were like, oh, wait. Like, just the mindset you have going in of like, all right, for the next fucking 7 to 8 months, I'm going to go back to school mode.
Yeah,
and then, like, 7 days before, someone's like, no, you don't do any of that. You're like, oh, okay. Summer just got 10 times longer.
Yeah, so
that's fucking sick.
That whole year, like, we all just descended from, like, casual weed smokers and getting drunk occasionally into, we just fed off each other.
Mutants.
Into mutant creatures. into full-on, like, junkies. It was just horrendous.
I'm sorry. I might have been zoning out. How did you have the money to do all this shit?
To do drugs?
To buy all the drugs and just hang out.
Because I was at that point, what was I doing? So I worked at Staples for a little bit.
At Staples?
I worked at Staples.
Okay.
I worked at Staples for like 3 months.
Okay.
Because this was like I think 14-month period I was doing this. Yeah. Like because the summer we'd already started the degenerate down spiral, but I thought I was going back to school, and then I didn't, and then it continued for another year.
Yeah.
So like for 4 of those months, I was working at Staples, and then I worked for my dad for like 6 of those months, and then I was a pizza delivery guy for like the remainder of those months. So I had like a lot of
Gotcha. And all the money that you were making, like
fully,
was going
I always
right
had.
for it.
I lived paycheck to paycheck. I had $0 in my account at all times,
and all of it went right to spending it on drugs and shit.
Yeah, 100%.
God damn.
And like I have so many. I don't think about this era that much, but so many stories from that era. And also working for my gay dad at the time at his interior decorating firm was also a bunch of crazy stories from that as well. Because I was
going there fucked up
100% of the time.
Working there.
Yeah.
God damn.
And just see my dad be so disappointed that I turned out the way I did.
He's looking at his other like employees and his like other coworkers,
and I'm just like clearly,
I don't
clearly fucking hungover, haven't showered, and like just took like a bull rip when I woke up to like not be hungover anymore.
He's like, I'm disappointed in you. You're literally gay. I'm disappointed in you as a dad.
We're both going to hell just for different reasons. I do N-bomb with a 16-year-old in the garage, and you have sex with men. Equal crimes. Equal crimes. This was also during the time I wasn't religious, so that's also part of that whole era. But yeah, so that was fun. I have a lot of stories from the garage, as we'll call it. We can get into more of those on a later date, but that was just one of those people, Craig. And to this day,
Craig's the best, dude.
I remember one time, just one more story about Craig. I have so many, but this is another one that pops in my mind. I remember I went to I think it was a Devil Wears Prada concert with Craig.
Okay.
It was Craig, and this other kid, Adrian.
Yeah.
They were both Craig's age. And me and another friend who was my age went to the Devil Wears Prada concert with them.
Okay. Devil Wears Prada, that's a movie.
It is also a movie, but it was like some metalcore band. I didn't really listen to them. Okay. I just went because like everyone else.
It was also a band. Cool.
Yeah, because I just went because everyone else was going, and I was just like, oh, excuse to get fucked up in public. I'm down.
All right.
So we go, and we make it about 20 minutes into this concert before we're in the bathroom doing drugs.
Fuck. Okay.
We're in the bathroom, and we get caught immediately. They're like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, nothing. Just enjoy. I'm just peeing and enjoying the concert. Leave me alone. And so they kick us out. The other friend who was my age was still in the concert because he wasn't like in the bathroom. So it's just me, Adrian, and Craig on the streets of New Haven, in the bad area of New Haven. We're all fucked up. Yeah. We're all so fucked up. But the fucking bouncer had taken like all our drugs and thrown them out when he kicked us out. And we're all fucked up, so we didn't like argue with him. We're just like, oh, I'm sorry. And so we're just like out. He probably didn't throw them. He probably took them for himself. Yeah. But so we're out in the bad part of New Haven, and me, Craig, this kid Adrian. So like me and Craig are fine because we're fucked up. We have no fear. Like we're just like, yeah, this is sick. And Adrian's like, dude, we're in a bad. We gotta figure this out. And my other friend had been the one who had driven us, so we couldn't go home because he's still in the concert for another 2-3 hours. He's not coming out to drive us home.
Oh shit!
And we can't get back in. So we're just hanging out, and
so we go to Mecca.
And so, which is not the Mecca part of. So we start walking around. And we just go to this gas station because it's cold. So we're hanging out in the gas station. I meet this clearly homeless man. And I'm just like, "Hey, man, do you know where we can get drugs?" And he's like, "What?" It's like, "I just want weed, man. You know where we can get weed?" And he's like, "Yeah, man. Yeah." So we follow this clearly like.
You're going on a quest?
On a quest. We followed this clearly drunk, like, 50-year-old homeless man.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, man, usually drugs here. And, like, walks away, comes back.
He's like, what did he say? You guys are like, yeah, we understood him perfectly.
Yeah, I was like, it's drugs. Comes back and is like, yeah, I just told my buddy Frank you're going to go get the drugs, and you pay me $20 when it comes in. That's my fee. And we're like, sure, man. Like, at this point, sure.
Yeah.
Guy never came back with the drugs, mind you. Never came back. Luckily, we didn't give him any money, so we weren't even scammed. Guy just never came back with the drugs.
Right.
So we just ended up hanging out with this homeless man for 2 hours waiting for the supposed drugs to our friend.
You were okay with that? You were okay with just like hanging out
I
with
thought
this
drugs
dude?
were coming. I thought drugs were coming. So I'm talking to this homeless man. He's telling me all about his life, and he was just giving me advice. Like, hey, man, you know, around here.
Roth IRA.
Yeah. I can't even do his voice justice. I feel like he'd smoked 1 million cigarettes. And he's just like, you know, you go down that road. I forgot what the street was. You go down that road, a lot of prostitutes over there.
Okay, it wasn't good advice. You're never going to get good advice from a homeless person.
No, it was good advice. Good luck.
He's never going to be like,
he's like, there are a lot of
Bitcoin.
there are a lot of prostitutes out there. But you got to be careful which ones you pick, because you pick the wrong prostitute. She take you down to one of them alleys, and she just another man out there, and they fucking rob you. These hoes ain't loyal. They rob you. And I'm like, thanks. I'll keep that in mind. How can you tell which prostitutes? I'm fascinated. I love people that are crazy.
Yeah,
I'm attracted to them. I'm just like, I want more of this. So I'm just like, really, it just was giving me a breakdown of like how to spot a prostitute that's legit versus a prostitute that's going to rob you.
It's all in the eye movements.
Yeah. No,
she's not making eye contact. She probably has a guy she's working for.
Well, this is what he was telling me. He told me, and this is actually probably true. I never tested it out, but this is what he told me. He's like, if they look too good, if they look too revealing, them titties out, they wearing a mini skirt, they look good, they gonna rob you. He was like, they gonna rob you, because there's ain't no prostitute out here that look good. He's like, that life ain't for you. That's gonna wear you down.
Yeah.
So they probably gonna rob you. But these chicks out in the sweatsuits look like they ain't slept in 3 days. That's a real girl. She gonna take care of you. That's a good prostitute.
Yeah, dude.
And I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. And meanwhile, so me and Craig are like, fascinating. And
Craig's like, fascinating.
And then the third kid, Adrian, who is a good kid, I think he's like has a normal life now. So I Probably shouldn't even said his first name.
Uh-huh.
Because he would hang out with us sometimes.
Last name Brody.
But he wasn't a core member. Like, he wasn't a full drug addict. He just hang out with us sometimes. He's horrified. He's like, Chris, can we please? I'm like, I'm trying to learn something here, Adrian. Calm down. Calm down. I'm trying to learn something.
Adrian, please.
Yeah.
Trying to learn about which prostitutes you can trust.
So, yeah, never got the weed, but learned a lot about prostitutes, and that's just one of many tales of drug. But here's the thing. Now Craig Lindale. And
Craig now.
From all the other people I've talked to, I've kept in touch with some of the people from that era in my life, and some people not so much. I mostly keep in touch with only the ones that got sober, like myself.
Right.
The people that are still using, like, if you're listening, I love you. You need help, hit me up. But, like, they're doing their thing.
Yeah.
And every one of us calls Craig probably like once every couple months.
Okay.
Does not answer any of our calls. And what we think happened.
Did it end badly?
No. It just, I think he grew up and realized like how much we used to torture him.
Okay.
And was like, I don't want to deal with that ever again. Like, I'm sure Craig has fever dreams of us making him dab jewel juice to this day.
It's like, you ever see the movie Good Time? It's like Craig is Benny Safdie, and then your entire friend group is just like, no, we know what's best for you. And just fucking treating him like shit.
No, it was great. It was great. He was our mascot, and so rip Craig. But yeah, a lot of stories. We'll have another story from the garage next week. We can talk more about that. But I could go on all day. Great era in my life.
Thank you guys so much for watching this You Should Be Worried podcast. My name is Matt Lopes. You can find me on social media at MattyFucko. Follow In the Making ITM on all social media platforms to see some really funny sketches. The longer versions get posted on TikTok, and the shorter versions are on Instagram. Chris?
Hey, everybody. My name's Chris Warren. As always, you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Chris Warren Comedy. Got all my show dates posted up there. I do some history stuff, some sketchy stuff, some stand-up clips, all the fun stuff's over there. Go check it out. Please, my whole self-worth is based on how many followers I get in a given day. So please make extra accounts and follow me.
Yeah.
Also follow In the Making, like Matt said, love In the Making, and please follow this podcast at You Should Be Worried Pod on TikTok and Instagram.
Please do.
And comment, subscribe on the podcast. And
on the YouTube.
We actually got
on the Instagram, TikTok.
Speaking of which, hold on. We got a message from a fan that wants us to come out to Kansas City. So
where's that?
It's in Missouri.
Wouldn't you think that it was in Kansas?
You would, right? It's a little bit of a trick, but anyway. So if you want us to come to your city, be like this awesome fan, and DM us what city you want us to come to.
Yeah, DM us on the Instagram. We'll always watch and we'll always reply to it. So please do.
We will not come out.
But if you guys want us to come out, we'll make it happen.
We're going to try to make Kansas City happen.
Pay for the tickets, and we will go wherever you want us to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you give me $10,000, I will do whatever you want for an entire day.
Yeah. If you have even 5 minutes of stage time anywhere, I'll do anything you want for the whole day.
Guys, we're going to Missouri. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next week. Have a good one. Funniest episode of the podcast. I've laughed so hard.
You know what's great is all those